Claire? Natalie came into this world 17 years ago, and I remember when she was born. Not exactly that day, but generally speaking. And I remember that for different reasons, but our girls have basically grown up together, and we've seen each other grow and develop, and it's been a blessing to see Natalie grow into the young lady that she is this afternoon. As I think about Natalie, several words come to my mind about her as well. These are words that represent character traits that don't just fall off the table into somebody's lap. These are character traits that are sought after, character traits that are developed, character traits that are sacrificed for, until they become what defines the person. And as I think about Natalie, I think of her as being a studious young lady. Natalie has a standard of excellence for her schoolwork that drives her to do her best in everything that she does. She always gets her work in on time, and it's always to the highest standard that she can do it, essentially to perfection. Natalie is studious, but it really is a standard of excellence that sets her apart. She takes the time to do that which is great. She understands that there's value in doing her best for the Lord. She strives to meet that goal in everything that she does. She's an excellent student, well deserving of any awards that she receives. But not only is she studious, but she's hardworking. A person can have raw material, natural talent, but it's another thing to work hard to develop that. And if you can have a combination of natural ability and strong work ethic, you've got a great combination. And Natalie, I believe, has that. She, as I say, does excellently in her schoolwork. She's hardworking. But even in terms of her physical development, she is a hardworking young lady. Physically, she pushes herself. Physically, she gets up early in the morning when it's still dark outside. Not to make coffee, that's what I do. But she gets up to jog. I don't do that. But she jogs, and who makes her? Nobody, except herself. She believes in it. She wants to be that way. And she strives to do her best, even in terms of doing physical work around the house, or around the church, around the school. She's not a slacker. She's a very diligent, hardworking young lady who does her best, and as a result, not only has become a stronger person, but has set a good example. She's studious, she's hardworking, she's also faithful. Natalie just keeps going. Day in and day out, she just shows up. Day in and day out, she just keeps doing her best. She's faithful in what she puts her hand to do. She's faithful to the Lord. She's faithful to her family. She's faithful to her friends. Even in terms of evangelizing, we have door-to-door evangelism on Wednesday afternoons, and Natalie is in the van. Week in, week out, Natalie is faithful at serving the Lord. Natalie is an extremely talented musician. We saw an example of that earlier this afternoon. She's wonderfully well-rounded in her musicianship, earning the highest awards for her piano development, earning great applause and accomplishments for her violin. But to have that combination of excellent skill on two instruments is not often seen. But Natalie is extremely accomplished on both. And she wants to use both of them for the glory of God. And she has used both of those talents for the glory of God. This year, Natalie did something that is unique. Not only is it unique for somebody this age to play the instrument so well, but she came to me on a couple of different occasions and said, Pastor Sutton, is there something I can do to help you with the piano accompaniment for choir? And I said, yes, as a matter of fact, there is. And so I gave her the school choir's music pieces that we were doing for the Christmas program, and she sat down and prepared them, and she played them masterfully. She came to me in the spring and did the same thing. I've gone to her several occasions this year, especially with the church. And I said, Natalie, can you play this? We want to do a piano duo. Can you play the clavinova for this number? And she has, and she's done an excellent job. She's been grown in her music theory in a lot of different ways. Even Mr. Marlon Robles teaching that. But she's well-rounded in her musicianship, and I believe sincerely desires to use her abilities for the Lord. And that is extremely commendable. She helps guide others as well physically. It's one thing to have a talent, it's one thing to be extremely skilled. It's another thing to share it with somebody else. And Natalie has taken younger students under her wings to help bring them along, to teach them some of the things that she's had opportunity to learn. But not only does Natalie help young people with music, but she also helps them spiritually. On several occasions, people have mentioned to me that Natalie's given them counsel, Natalie's given advice. And for a young person to be that thoughtful regarding the Word of God, to pass on knowledge of Scripture in an appropriate way to another young person, says something about that young person. It's not about just being cool and fitting in. It's about helping the guy appear toward God as a young person. So to have the knowledge, but then to have the courage to pass it on, that is remarkable. Natalie, you demonstrated a lot of great skill, a lot of wonderful character, a lot of biblical discernment, and a lot of Christian love. And Natalie, I value that. I appreciate all of the work that you've done. You've been a hardworking, godly example of a young lady in our school and to others in our church, and I commend you for that. Natalie's worked very hard academically in all of her subjects, and she's taken the most difficult of subjects. She's earned an extremely high grade point average, and that GPA is 4.200. And as a result, Natalie has earned the valedictorian award. And because of that great effort, Natalie, I'd like you to come and I'd like you to present you with that honor of being valedictorian of the class of 2015. Natalie has also demonstrated great Christian character. I've shared a few of those items with you already. But Natalie loves the Lord. She wants to serve the Lord, glorify God with all of her life, and she's demonstrated excellence in living the Christian life. And Natalie, because of all these things, I'd like to present to you the Principals Award to Natalie Brandenburg in recognition of outstanding Christian character, Bethel Christian Academy, May 31st, 2015. And I've asked Natalie to address the congregation.
First off, I want to thank you all for coming. I know it's Sunday evening service to some of you, but I still appreciate your attendance. I know Megan, my tutor, is here, and I appreciate you coming. Most everyone here relates to me or sees me in a different way. I'm either your daughter, sister, student, friend, teammate, captain, coach, fellow church member, fellow pianist, violinist, the middle sister, the runner/health freak, the girl graduating with Claire, and whatever else that I forgot. Because I have so many types of relationships, I was trying to think of how I could relate to everyone. So I decided to just choose one relationship to draw my relatable metaphor from. Naturally, I thought the most interesting category would be my health freak side. I say health freak, but quick tangent. It's genetical. According to the Urban Dictionary, a health freak is someone who is so into their health and what they eat that they are psycho about it. So, for a further meaning than psycho about it, I scrolled farther down on the page where there were 20 words most related. The first was not vegetarian, so apparently I'm not psycho. Anyways, I'm I'm graduating today and we're not sharing tofu recipes. If you know a relatively normal amount about me, I guess Pastor Sled does, you know that I eat pretty healthy and exercise most regularly. Every one of us has a different relationship with exercise. You either like exercising, are a disciplined exerciser, wish you exercised more, or dread exercise. I think of my first 9 years of education as a warm-up for high school, and high school would be the run. But before every run, I always make sure to have my gear. Each person I know is like a piece of the outfit that I wear to complete my run. And a very important part of that gear is my iPod. Each song I listen to is like a different teacher, leader, example, coach, and each one teaches me their own melody that makes them unique to their method of training, whether the melody be major, minor, fast-paced, upbeat, slow, or relaxed. My friends and siblings are my motivation. Not only do they know how to make me laugh, but they also know some of the best ways to encourage me, support me, and make me push harder for my goals. I said part of my motivation came from my siblings, but I saved a special piece of my gear for my brother, Kirk. Kirk is my pepper spray. He's there or a text away to protect me. From any problems. But the last part, and the most important part of my equipment, is my running shoes. These are my parents. They are the foundations to each step I make. Without them, I have no support or absolute certainty. They are there every day, always available when I need them, or even when I don't think I need them. Without them, I would not be able to go any place, and each part of my gear makes me who I am and who I've become. And now that I have all of my gear for now, I'm ready to start my run. Kindergarten through 8th grade was the warm-up to high school. Each year leading up to the start of the run has its own lessons, but freshman year is the official start of the 4-mile/year run. You feel nervous in the beginning, and the end seems so far away. A half mile in, and you realize how much the seniors have it really figured out. They already studied for the history test that's in 2 days, and they already did their literature paper a week ago. This is an exception to those seniors who have mastered procrastination. Even though you have metaphorically warmed up for 9 years, this first mile is like the Great Awakening. Entering mile 2 of sophomore year, you know what to expect. You're ready to ace all those tests except probably geometry, and the world is still yours to conquer. You'll become fluent in the Spanish language, and you will dissect that fish. But after passing mile 2 with flying colors, you are ready for mile 3, the junior year. Sometimes it takes the most willpower to get through the first half of the end, because you are almost there, but it feels so far. Knee-deep in SAT prep and chemistry, it feels like you will drown into explosive chemicals. But with the addition of short jogs, aka weekends, between those sprints, you make it through that 3rd mile. Mile 4. You can taste the end, but controlling the excitement, you focus on finishing up college applications. All goes mostly smoothly, and you finish strong, tired but proud of what has been accomplished. You are happy to finish the 4-mile run, but as a senior I've realized that it was all really a big warm-up for the bigger run. Some might call it a marathon. College, work, marriage, whatever my future holds, I will try to run with patience the race that is set before me. So you might ask, what's my next step? The first step of the beginning of my marathon is college. Most of you have probably deduced from this speech that I'm not technically a health freak, but pretty into health. So this fall, I will be starting to work towards a bachelor's degree in dietetics at San Francisco State University with the hopes of becoming a registered dietitian in 5 years. We each have our own race to run, but we all need to remember what is most important, and that is all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose. Thank you.